Welcome to this week's Security Report. I'm Paul McCallum. Thanks for joining us. Please be informed that with effect from May 18, the Guyana Police Force recommenced the issuing of certificates of fitness for motor vehicles and gun license renewals. A date for the resumption of the practical driving tests will be announced later. Now, if you have difficulty breathing or cough or fever, please call the coronavirus hotline numbers. These are 227-4986, 229-7490, 231-1166, 226-7480, or 624-3555. Now, the Mayor and Councillors of Georgetown's COVID-19 Task Force Committee is urging citizens to comply with the regulatory guidelines. Enforcement by the City Constabulary Department saw the arrest and charging of 7 vendors from the Border and Stabroek markets for not wearing face masks whilst conducting their business this week. Georgetown's Mayor Ubrajan Ryan announced that from May 6, 2020, vendors and stall holders, and with staff, of course, they should be required to wear face masks throughout the duration of their operations. Failing to do so will result in a penalty of $5,000. The City Constabulary will continue to carry out checks at all municipal markets to ensure that vendors, stall holders, and customers comply with guidelines. Police are investigating the death of 28-year-old Rosello Smith, who was found dead in an abandoned mining pit at 3 Miles Corral Back Dam on Friday. Police headquarters said that they're on the hunt for a man identified as Black Boy, last seen at about 20 hours on May 14 at her camp. Smith's camp was ransacked and persons saw the man leaving the Back Dam with a bag and bucket at around 1100 hours on Friday. Smith of Bamford Point Partica was found face down by a 23-year-old minor at about 12:30 hours. At the time of her death, Rosello was selling goods from a makeshift camp. A post-mortem examination conducted on Smith revealed that she died as a result of asphyxiation due to drowning by manual strangulation. 22-year-old pedal cyclist Tyrone Jerome was killed after being struck down by a motor car on the Linden-Soosdijk Highway on Saturday, May 16 at around 12:30 hours. Jerome of Caironi Village, Linden-Soosdijk Highway, allegedly swerved into the car's path. The driver of the car, PXX2588, a 26-year-old Linden resident, was proceeding south along the highway and reported that Jerome was riding in the center of the road. The driver said he applied brakes and tried to avoid hitting Jerome, but instead collided with the rear wheel of the bicycle. As a result, Jerome landed on the car's windscreen before falling onto the road. He received injuries about the head and body. He was taken in an unconscious state to the Linden Hospital complex, but pronounced dead on arrival. The driver tested negative for alcohol. An investigation is underway. And one day after the police issued a wanted bulletin for Donald Sheriff for questioning in relation to the murder of New Amsterdam resident Keron Nicholson, he was arrested in Madia. Acting on information, ranks went to Stone Creek Back Dam in Madia, where they arrested Sheriff on May 17. And the police are investigating a hit-and-run accident which caused the death of 39-year-old woman Raquel Edwards of Angois Avenue, New Amsterdam, Berbice. The accident occurred on the Fort Kanji public road in New Amsterdam at approximately 20:30 hours on May 16. Edwards, a mother of 1, was proceeding east along the northern side of the road when she was struck down by motorcar PNN 3631, which was proceeding in the same direction. The motorcar was driven by a 34-year-old mechanic of Stevedore, South Renville, Georgetown, who initially fled the scene but later contacted the police. According to the police, the driver who was arrested passed a breathalyzer test. He told the police that the cyclist suddenly turned right into his path and they collided. Raquel Edwards was taken to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital in an unconscious state, but succumbed to her injuries 2 hours later whilst receiving medical attention. Now, Ghanaian Danrash, 32, who escaped from the Luzignan prison's holding bay on the east coast of Demerara on April 20, was caught in a car at Perico, East Bank Essequibo, on Saturday afternoon. Director of Prisons Gladwell Samuels revealed that police and ranks acting on information went to the Perico bus park, where the escapee was seen in a motor car at around 14:10 hours. He was questioned, identified, and then escorted to the Perico police station, where he was further questioned, then transported back to prison. The Guyana Prison Service is commending the police for their swift action, and they're commending also the members of the public for feeling safe and confident enough to provide the relevant information to the police. Dan Raj is among 4 persons who initially escaped from the holding bay at Luzignan on April 20. He was on remand for murder. On May 5, police recaptured Anthony Kevin Padmore in a house at Lamont Intention on the east coast of Demerara. On April 30, Police also recaptured 24-year-old Cisnarine Bisnot in the cane fields aback of the Betafo-acting sideline dam on the east coast of the Demerara. Still on the run is remanded murder-accused 26-year-old Kenral Perez. And police are on the hunt for 3 bandits who invaded the home of a Lemaha Park Georgetown couple in the wee hours of Sunday morning. The bandits escaped into Sophia over a small bridge which links the two communities and took with them wedding bands and other valuables from the couple. One of the bandits was armed with a handgun. They apparently gained entry to the house by removing a mosquito screen to the eastern side and exited through the front door after robbing the couple. Hours after a motorcycle was stolen Monday morning from a residence, a suspect was shot dead during an exchange of gunfire with police during a high-speed chase in the Sparendam community. Kevin Cross-Eye Thomas, a known character and motorcycle thief, was riding the motorcycle stolen from a residence in LBI or Labon Intention on the east coast. Police said that they were closing in on the suspects when the pillion rider fired a handgun at the patrol. The lawmen returned fire, hitting the cyclist, and both of them fell off the bike. The shooter, however, got up and escaped. The owner of the elite motorcycle with registration number CK1893 said he was alerted to the theft by the sounds of barking dogs. The 50-year-old man said he left on a bicycle in search of his motorcycle and saw the 2 men riding it on the BV embankment. In an attempt to stop the men, he threw his bicycle into their path, but they swerved and fled the area. And ranks on May 18 arrested 2 teenagers for the brutal murder and rape of 68-year-old Margaret Dawson. The teenagers, who hail from Boystown, were wanted for other criminal offenses. The woman's cell phone was found on one of the suspects and her rings in the possession of another. Margaret Dawson, a security guard attached to the professional guard service, was last seen alive on Sunday night when she left her daughter's Boystown home for work. She moved to the city from Timeri to avoid taking public transportation in order to protect herself from COVID-19. She reportedly called a taxi service for a car to take her to work. Also in custody is the driver from the taxi service who is known to Dawson. One of the teens who lives in Albert Street, Boystown, is known to the taxi driver and was picked up beforehand. When the taxi arrived, Dawson entered the car and it sped away in the direction of the cemetery, and she was not seen alive again. On Monday morning, Dawson's body was discovered by a passerby using a shortcut in the cemetery which leads into Boystown. Less than an hour later, acting on information, the lawmen managed to apprehend the driver of the car. Rats acting on intelligence on Tuesday, May 19, 2020 at about 16:45 hours went to the house of a 33-year-old female clerk at Durban Street in Lodge, Georgetown. They conducted a search in her presence and that of 2 unemployed males who resided at Victoria Village and Victoria Street, Georgetown, respectively. The East Coast Demerara suspect had in his possession 390 grams of suspected cannabis in a haversack, and a search of 2 barrels and a box revealed the number of taped parcels with suspected cannabis, which amounted to 36.43 kilograms. The suspects are all in custody pending charges. And at 8 hours on May 19, ranks intercepted a vehicle at Pert Village, Maikoni, East Coast, Demerara, and conducted a search therein. They found the parcel containing 284 grams of suspected cannabis. The 51-year-old driver, a salesman of John Street, Georgetown, the lone occupant, was arrested. He's being processed for court. Police are investigating a fatal accident which occurred on Wednesday, May 20, at about 11:30 hours on Princetown Public Road, Quarantine, Berbice, involving motorcar 8C8511 driven by a 25-year-old resident of Grant Street, 1805 Craddock Street, Quarantine, Berbice, and pedal cyclist Marsha Adena, aged 57 years old, of Skeldon Riverside, Quarantine. The car was proceeding south along the eastern carriageway and the pedal cyclist was proceeding north along the western side of the road when the driver allegedly swerved west and collided with the cyclist. As a result of the impact, the cyclist fell onto the road surface, receiving injuries to his body. He was picked up in an unconscious condition and taken to the Skeldon Public Hospital, but pronounced dead on arrival. The driver was found to be below the prescribed alcohol limit. And ranks of the force on Wednesday evening arrested several persons at a house in Golden Grove on the east coast of Demerara for failing to adhere to the COVID-19 emergency measures. At around 19:30 hours, the ranks received information of an active birthday party in the area. They quickly responded and broke up the party. Persons were arrested and escorted to the police station. According to the COVID-19 emergency measures, social activities such as these types of private parties are restricted until June 3. Those who fail to comply are committing an offense under Section 152 of the Public Health Ordinance Act. And recently, several villages on the East Coast were listed as hotspots, including Golden Grove. Other communities listed include Atlantic Gardens, Friendship, Golden Grove, of course, Good Hope, Lusicknan, Pleasance, and Strathspey. Among communities on the east bank of Demerara, where the cases are Diamond, Grove, Landakin, and Providence, and Temeri. And ranks on Tuesday, May 21, conducted a narcotics eradication exercise at Gateroy and Develt on the Bobbies River. During the 13 hours exercise, which started at 600 hours, the team, under the command of a senior officer, found and destroyed approximately 3 acres of cultivated marijuana, with more than 13,000 plants measuring between 6 to 2 feet in height. A nursery with about 3,000 seedlings, 15 pounds of dried cannabis, and 5 nearby camps were also destroyed by fire. The coordinates of the locations were taken and photographs, as well as samples obtained before the destruction. A 21-year-old laborer of Stanleytown, New Amsterdam, who was arrested on one of the marijuana fields, is in custody, assisting with investigations. Now for some highlights from the Guyana Defense Force. Let's tell you that many ranks remain in line as pertains to regulations following the recent general elections. Police are, however, investigating the fatal accident which occurred on Vicinjon Road, Georgetown, which claimed the life of a 24-year-old GDF rank on Thursday. Dead is Private Quasi Rodriguez of Alboystown. He served in the Jaguar Company of 1 Infantry Battalion. Rodriguez enlisted in the force in 2017. At 10:10 hours on Thursday, May 21, he was on his motorcycle riding at a fast rate, but collided with a motor car at the corners of the St. John Road and Epping Avenue. He was picked up in an unconscious state and rushed to the Georgetown Public Hospital, but died whilst receiving treatment. The Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force officers and other ranks with soldiers extend sincere condolences to the soldiers' relatives. Now, the forces issued a wanted bulletin for several persons. They include 33-year-old Marissa Ahmad, known as Marissa Ali, in connection with simple larceny committed on Stanislaus McCoy. They said that the woman of Annandale, East Coast, Demerara, committed the offense on January 4, 2020 at the Ocean Spray Hotel, Stanley Place, Katy, Georgetown. Also wanted is 18-year-old Stephen Archibald in connection with the murder of 23-year-old Kyle Chase. Chase was stabbed to death on December 30, 2019 at Mazzaroni Street in Guyhawk Park. Police headquarters listed Archibald's last known address as Lot 136, Victoria Street, Alboystown, Georgetown. Now, anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of the aforementioned can contact the police on telephone numbers 226-6978, 225-8196, 226-2870, 226-7065, 227-1149, 226-7065-911, or their nearest police station. That's it for this week's Security Report. Goodbye.